Hi moms and dads. Today Parental Alienation Survival Coach is going to talk about bargaining, one of the 5 phases of grief. If you remember from my previous videos, there are 5 commonly accepted phases of grief put forth by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Others have named 7 or 12 phases, but the 5 phases are commonly accepted, and you might feel yourself going in and out of these various emotions, which is important to be able to identify them. That will help your healing process. If you have lost a relationship with your child or children, you will grieve and you will experience the loss almost as if you have lost them to death. Very similar. So the grieving process includes denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and today we're going to talk about bargaining. In the bargaining phase, it's very closely associated with guilt and regret. You may find yourself saying things like, if I had only not scolded them so much, the children wouldn't have been turned against me. Or if I only took them to Disney World more, the children wouldn't have been turned against me. And you're looking back and thinking of things you could have done to prevent the alienation from happening. Well, in most cases, as we all know, alienation is caused by one person who is hell-bent on destroying your relationship with your children and wanting to see you miserable and alone. That's their goal, and often they will say that during the divorce or before the divorce. They will say, I can't wait to make these children hate you, or I will make sure these children hate you, or you will never see your children again. They often say things like that, and they mean it. So there's very little you could have done to stop it from happening when you had no idea what was going on. You didn't believe it could happen. The other phase that we've done videos on is denial. You denied that it could happen, possibly. You just didn't know how bad it could be, and you felt that it wasn't going to happen. You may have been in denial. You may not have even known about parental alienation. But now that it's happened to you, you may find yourself bargaining, in a backward regret way, looking back and thinking you could have done something different and it would have prevented it. Or you may be praying out to God or to the universe and saying, if I quit smoking, will you just bring my kids back to me? Or things like that. Well, that's the bargaining phase. So if you find yourself caught in that, understand that that's just one of the 5 phases: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Eventually, we do all get to the acceptance phase and try to live our life to be the best, happiest versions of ourselves that we can be, despite the open wound of not having our children. So hang in there, moms and dads. If you find yourself caught in bargaining mode, understand that it is one of the healthy phases of grieving, and that eventually you will come out of that phase. But please also understand, parental alienation is not your fault. It is usually caused by one side. It's usually very one-sided. You'll have someone in the relationship who is very angry and embittered, and probably were that way even when you were in the relationship with them, and they will stop at nothing to keep the children from you, because they need them in their life to serve their ego needs, to make them feel that they will not be abandoned and that they are adequate as humans and as parents, and they need the children with them only. They need undying loyalty to prove to the world that they're a decent person, because remember, these type of parents have deep, deep fears of abandonment and deep feelings of human inadequacy. Normal people don't do this to children. People with serious internal flaws do. And on the other side of the equation, you have another parent. Perhaps you're like yourself. Maybe you're very easy to get along with, very willing to compromise, willing to negotiate, willing to give up a little, well-liked, even maybe submissive. And all of those things did not help you keep your children because of the imbalance with the other person. And so it's not your fault. So if you find yourself bargaining and wishing you could have done something different to have prevented it, chances are probably not. However, as we move forward into the future and we create more and more awareness, hopefully there will be ways with people who know and are armed with education about what's happening. Maybe then in the future we'll be able to have some early intervention and prevention of parental alienation. And that's just going to take continuing education, and that's what I've been dedicated to. A lot of education, a lot of awareness, small support groups throughout the country. You can find more about that at Parental Alienation Survival Coach on Facebook, or Speak Worldwide. Our website is www.speakw.org. And we're going to try to just continue to raise awareness. But in this bargaining phase, remember, it's not your fault. And there's probably nothing you could have done looking back. You didn't know. And there's nothing you did that caused it in most cases. And if there is anything you did, you just pray for forgiveness, and God always grants forgiveness to those who ask for it. Forgive yourself and ask God for forgiveness. And that's all you can do about, your regrets. But hang in there, moms and dads. And remember, if you find yourself in this bargaining phase, it's just one of the healthy phases of grief, and you have to move through it. Hang in there, moms and dads. I know it's hard, but you're not alone. None of us are.